Hello, ladies, and welcome to Menopause Made Easy with Tanya. We are continuing with our belly fat conversation, losing belly fat. Last week, I gave you some homework. I gave you some homework to get some tests done, some blood tests done. I gave you some podcast episodes to listen to. You want to become a fat burner. Okay, you want to lose fat. So we're going to go over some things that again are helping you to build the foundation to really help you understand, because I think when you understand, at least when I understand things, I get the why behind it. Because right now you're riding the January wave, or if you've decided it's July and you're listening to this and you're riding the wave, motivation only lasts so long. Then you have to find out, well, you need to find out beforehand the strong why of why you're doing this, because motivation is not going to last for the next 30 years, ladies. It ebbs and flows. So we want a strong why. So we've been listening to, like, hearing a lot about metabolic health. What is metabolic health, right? Like, why should I care about metabolic health? How does this pertain to body fat? Well, as we're aging, okay, you have your sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, they are decreasing. This is affecting you. What you did in your 20s no longer serves you. And so when people say to me, oh, but Tanya, I'm gaining this weight, or my clothes are getting tighter, my belly fat, but I haven't changed anything, that's the first problem, okay? You have to change things. I'm sorry. And if you don't like it, just stop listening to this podcast. So metabolic health is uniquely vulnerable to disruption whenever inflammation is present in the body, even low-grade inflammation without any symptoms. And having too much fat on our body can cause a low-grade inflammation, okay? And it is the reason why at midlife you need to pay attention to this. So as I mentioned, the loss of these sex hormones through the menopausal transition and beyond promote metabolic dysfunction by predisposing women to obesity, abdominal fat, ding, 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 belly fat. There you go, ladies. This is why I'm talking about it. Insulin resistance, that's prediabetes, diabetes. Also diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's. We're really digging into this in the midlife reboot right now. We are focusing on brain health, which is preventable. I will not say more here, but we have lifestyle choices. All right. This also affects our cardiovascular and lipid changes, chronic inflammation, disrupted sleep, and increased oxidative stress. Remember that oxidative stress is you cut an apple in half, you put lemon on one side, you leave the other side free to the air. Both are free to the air, but one has lemon. You leave it overnight. The side with the lemon juice has less browning. The other side has more oxidative stress. It's happening every time we breathe. We are promoting oxidative stress, but what we do can help decrease that. Okay, so simply replacing hormones is not going to help. There is no magic pill. It's time to put on your big girl pants, ladies, and step up to the plate and really look at your lifestyle habits, which includes how you move, how you eat, how you think, how you manage your stress, and how you sleep. Okay, so let's dive into what we need to do again for some blood tests, how we can address poor metabolic health, right? And I love helping women decrease belly fat, but I have to tell you, my desire to do that is because I'm helping you decrease your cancer risk, decrease your heart disease risk, decrease your inflammation from getting worse, from your joints getting achy, from mental illness stepping in. Okay. So as I've mentioned, I'm on a hormonal journey myself. I am still wrapping my head around how I want to share it in this podcast, but I will eventually. But I can tell you, if you don't do the lifestyle work, which I've been working on for 18 years, specifically, like intentionally, a pill is not going to fix you. Okay. It may help alleviate, but it's not going to get to the root cause. So we need these hormonal changes. And I know that this can be super overwhelming and deflating. But I'm here, I'm holding your hand as best that I can. And if you want more hand holding, of course, you can join my midlife reboot. Okay, so we are going to just talk about what am I talking about here? What metabolic health is. Sorry. All right, so I talked about this last week, but your waist circumference is less than or equal to 35 inches, which is 89 centimeters. Okay, this is for women. It's more for men. I'm talking about women here today. You want a fasting blood glucose of less than or equal to 100 milligrams per deciliter. That's little d, big L. And so you need to get a blood test to get that tested. You want a systolic blood pressure of lower than 120 over 80. So do you know your blood pressure numbers? If they're higher and you are just like not doing anything about it, ask yourself, why am I not really caring about getting my blood pressure down? What fear in my life is making me not want to change my drinking habits, my eating habits, my movement habits? We're going to talk more about that later. You want your triglycerides less than 150 milligrams per deciliter. So let me just have a quick look on my blood test. I'm pretty sure I saw that I had that done. And listen, oh yeah, here it is. Mine's 0.52. See, some of this is Canadian and you have to move it to American. So, American to Canadian. Oh, I see it very small here. Okay, so mine is 0.52. So do you know your triglycerides? All right, make sure they're in their healthy level. It looks like mine is 46 milligrams per deciliter. So I'm doing all right. Okay, and then your HDL good cholesterol of 50 milligrams per deciliter. You want that. All right. So get to know your blood work, like you know the number on a scale or how your clothes feel, etc. So metabolic health, these are the 5 characteristics that we want to look at. And 93% of the population does not has 1 to 3 of these out of whack. All right. So to be in great metabolic health, to be in that 7%, you need those 5 things where I just said. Okay. So if you fall outside of 3 of 5 of these that are listed above, this is what's called metabolic syndrome. So you may have heard about metabolic syndrome. We talk about metabolic flexibility, metabolic inflexibility. Okay. You might hear it called MET-S. All of these things, but if you have 3 out of the 5 outside of the areas that I have just mentioned, right, you are elevated risk for developing chronic cardiometabolic issues like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and a decreased quality of life. Right? So it's not just the belly fat. It's not just getting rid of belly fat because you want to look good in your pants. It's really digging into, when I'm in my 60s and 70s and 80s, do I want to be on the ground with my grandkids, or do I want to be sitting in a wheelchair or on a couch or unable to move? Do I want to be able to walk in nature, or can I not even walk down a flight of stairs? Like, you get to decide. You get to decide what you want. All right? So what we want to do is make sure that you are getting your blood test, you know your weight circumference, you can check your body fat if you want to, but it's really important to make sure you have these metabolic health markers, and that will help you put together a plan, because your weight on a scale may not change, but you may start to see your waist shrinking. You may start to see your fasting blood glucose come down. You may start to see your blood pressure come down, right? So really important to get a handle on these numbers. So when we are women listening to this podcast, but there are metabolic changes that are triggered by low hormones, which really sucks. It sucks, but this is our reality. We are losing estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And some of you are postmenopausal, and you may have very little, and some of you may have chosen to go on HRT or BHRT, or you may not be doing anything. Whatever you do is fine. Like I said, I'll talk about my hormonal adventure at some point. But when we have declining estrogen levels, this changes the way our body processes glucose. We are under muscled and over fat. We are under muscled and over fat. So ask yourself, are you lifting weights? Are you lifting heavy weights? Why? Why not? Why aren't you? Why aren't you doing it 2 to 3 times a week? Why? Okay. Only you can answer that question, because your muscle is a glucose sponge that is going to soak up the excess glucose in your diet. Okay. We need muscle and not 3-pound dumbbell muscles. If you have no idea how to lift weights, I have a beginner start here program in my Vibrant Living Academy. I'm also teaching live in and around the Bobcaygeon Fenelon area. I also have 4 classes I teach weekly online, and I have about 1,200 to 2,000 classes in my Vibrant Living Academy. Invest in yourself and learn how to lift weights and build muscle. Now, what are the obstacles to this? What is your mind saying? This is where the mindset work comes in. What are your excuses, right? And this is what we work in my midlife reboot. What are the excuses to you not doing this? You don't know how, you don't have weights, you can't see the value in it. Like, I'm not talking to you, so I don't know what it is. So talk to me, PM me, Instagram me, whatever you want to do, email me. And let's talk this out. All right. So when you have impaired glucose, right, it leads to insulin resistance. Well, insulin resistance is prediabetes, diabetes 2, diabetes 3. Do you want that? Do you want it? That's up to you. This is completely dependent on your lifestyle choices that you are making right now. Okay? What you eat, how you move, what you drink, how you think, how you manage your stress, how you sleep. These are factors. They're the basics. They're boring. They're not shiny stars. But if you don't nail these suckers down, okay, you are not going to get the results you want long term. And I'm sorry I'm being so blunt and direct. I maybe should put on my soft voice, but sometimes, we just think that we don't have to do anything. And you don't have to do anything, but the consequences, there will be consequences. There'll be consequences with what you decide to do. All right. So insulin resistance, like I just said, here we go, everybody. This is the body, the belly fat leads to increased fat storage, and it shifts from it shifts. I had a tooth pulled. I'm taping this in the beginning of October. I had a tooth pulled. It's only been a week, and it is affecting how I speak sometimes. But this fat shifts from your hips to your abdominals. Okay, belly fat, abdominals. You have subcutaneous fat. You can pinch it. You have visceral fat, which is around your organs. The visceral fat is dangerous. The visceral fat is what you don't see. The visceral fat is what you need to decrease. All right? Okay, that's that bulging in the stomach. It's like men that look pregnant, that have the beer belly. That is visceral fat, and it is danger, 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 danger. And this visceral fat increases your risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. Okay? So again, belly fat off looks great in your clothes. You feel better. You move better. But for your health, this is imperative. And maybe you don't care about your health, but I care about your health. So this is why I'm saying this today. Okay. So when we have these declining estrogen, which affects our hunger hormones, which are leptin and ghrelin, and I have done lots of lots of podcasts on this. I got lots of freebies. I wrote a book called Cookie Dough in the Dark. I was addicted to sugar. I didn't care about hormones. I messed up my hunger and fullness cues, like so many parents tell their children, eat what's on your plate. They get them to ignore their hunger cues. If you eat what's on your plate, you get dessert. So many of us have messed up hunger cues, okay? And so our hunger hormones, because of declining estrogen, and maybe you had perfect hunger hormones before, can be dysfunctional, which can lead to overeating, which will lead to more fat and inflammation in your body. And this is what I mean. So when I talk to somebody, okay, let me just do a little story here. This person said, oh, okay, Tanya, here's the all or nothing approach in full effect here. I am not eating any more sugar, any more alcohol, anymore. I said, that's great. Okay. But can you go a little deeper and see what's triggering your eating? Because if you don't get to the root cause, when the shit hits the fan again, you are going to gain all the weight back. Okay, let's fast forward. This was November, December of last year. Let's fast forward. June, she could not hold the beach ball underneath the water anymore. And slowly it started to happen. And then boom, it exploded. And now all the weight plus more is back. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen this. So when I talked to this person, I said, why are you overeating? Why are you overeating? Stress. Okay, we need to deal with stress. That's what we need to deal with. Sometimes it's not about controlling the food. It's that you must learn to cope with stress, right? Does everybody get that? So maybe it's not stress for you. Maybe it's something else, but I can tell you 100% that when my husband ticks me off or when my kids tick me off, I have had a deep desire to put food in my mouth. Deep desire. Okay. Maybe you're not even aware of that connection, but I am very aware because of all the work that I have done to unravel and peel back the layer of my onion, that when I feel stress, I have an internal urge to eat carbohydrates and not broccoli and carrots. Okay. I want the yummy, gooey, icky stuff. And I have had to sit in discomfort. I have had to do breath work. I have had to put tools in my toolbox of how I can manage stress besides eating it. And so until this person decides that they are going to step back and figure out how to deal with their stress, they will not get long-term results. And if they go and they try and do this again, they might lose weight, but I guarantee you they will gain it back. I've been in this business for over 30 years. I see it all the time. So maybe you listen to me, maybe you don't. All right. So we also have declining testosterone and estrogen, which leads to a loss of muscle mass. When we have less muscle mass, it's like the extra energy. Remember how I said like the muscle is a glucose sponge, gets stored in your fat. Okay. And that's not good. Your fat cells can become as big as they want to be. There is no limit to how big those fat cells can become. So if you want to keep eating and stretching out and storing that fat in your fat cells, that's what's going to happen. If you start to build muscle, it becomes a glucose sponge. What you eat gets sucked into the muscle for energy. Some of it gets stored in your liver. And then you have that reserve. This is why, again, you must learn to be a fat burner. Listen to episode 8 and 56. That was part of your homework last week. Okay. You have two systems in your body, a fat burner and a sugar burner. And most of us are stuck on sugar burning. And that's why you get hangry. That's why you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. I was there. I totally get it. I've been through it. I've worked through it. I'm on the other side. I have none of that anymore. Did it take me a week? No. Did it take me a month? No. It took me a long freaking time. Okay. But I kept with it. So you practice and you practice and you learn about yourself and you learn and you practice and you learn. And if you want it to happen faster, you can join my midlife reboot because I can guarantee you, I'll probably save you about 3 years. All right. So a slower metabolism leads to overeating, which leads to inflammation, which impairs your bone health, your heart health, and your brain health. And then when you have these declining hormones, you're disrupting your sleep. When you don't get enough sleep, you don't feel like working out. You tend to gravitate towards fluffier carbohydrates. You tend to overeat. When you have poor sleep, it's leading to inflammation, to weight gain, to poor stress handling. You cannot handle stress the same way when you haven't had sleep. Your cortisol spikes, triggering you to overeat and hold on to more fat. That's it. Right? I really hope you're starting to see how this is all connected. And I didn't get it at the beginning. And if you're like, oh, Tanya, I've listened to episode 8 and 56 before. No, you listen and you listen and you keep listening and you apply and you practice and you pick one thing. Do I need to learn how to manage stress? Do I need to improve my sleep? So one of the certifications I have is actually a sleep, stress, and recovery coach because it's that important. So again, you can't control your diet if you haven't learned how to manage your stress and your sleep long term. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right. So this week, I really just wanted to cover what metabolic health is. So check your waist circumference. Come on, get out your band, your measuring tape. Take that. Get your blood test booked. Okay, and you want your HbA1c, fasting and glucose and fasting insulin. You can get your triglycerides done. You can get your cholesterol done. Okay, and you want to get your blood pressure. Are you healthy? What do you need to focus on? When you focus on your health, your belly fat will begin to disappear. I know this. I've seen it. I'm doing it. I'm living it. This is why I can speak with such authority. All right. So then again, I will talk about hormones, but I have to tell you, get your lifestyle sorted out. If you want to start to talk to your doctor about hormones, go right ahead. I've done some episodes. Dr. Kat, I did an episode with. I've done an episode on what are your hormones. Just go into, when you're in Spotify, maybe it's the same for Apple. I listen to all my podcasts on Spotify. But when you go in there, just put hormones in the search bar when you're in my Menopause Made Easy podcast, and it'll pull up every episode that I've talked about with hormones, at least if it's in the title. So I've done some great ones, so you can start to explore that while you're also working on your lifestyle habits. Okay, so you can see the cascade of metabolic changes that happen in your body when our hormones disappear, which they are. From the age of 35, those hormones are slowly but surely flip-flopping, high, low, all over the place, until they eventually just peter out. All right, ladies, please, we are in a health crisis right now. Please look around. Okay? We need each other. We need each other's support. We need each other's love. And I know there is a friend or a family member that you have that would benefit from listening to this episode that could change the trajectory of their life so that they're living with amazing or even just better health so that they can be vibrant and energetic, because too many women are falling victim right now to poor health faster than men because men don't have the same issues. So I am here. I am cheering you on. I am embracing you in love. Please share this. We need strong, healthy women. And if you want more, you can join my Vibrant Living Academy. I have mindset, nutrition, and workouts in there. You just go in and out as you please. If you want more hand holding, I have a program called Midlife Reboot. You see me on screen. You can ask your questions. We have live coaching calls every week. Okay. And so I am here for you, but you have to be the one to be the CEO of your health and let go of feeling that you are a victim to your hormones or that you are powerless. You are not powerless. You are powerful beyond measure. Can you claim it? Okay, I love you. I'm embracing you, and I will see you in the next episode.